Hey everyone, Jack here again from Forbidden Planet Camden with a brand new comic book day video. Now before we get on to what I'm picking up off the shelf this week, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss any of the new comic book day videos or any of the other amazing content coming out of Forbidden Planet TV. So now that that's out of the way and you've all hit the subscribe button, I'm sure you have, let's get on to the books. Kicking us off with my ongoing titles, as ever, we have The Amazing Spider-Man, issue 7, and yes, I can't pick between the variants. Liber Mayo has done this wonderful Black Cat cover. It goes very well with the cover he did for Giant Size Spider-Man the other week. We had this brilliant, as I said then, like I love this, like how he's able to get the cloth texture in for Spider-Man. It feels like a real suit rather than that like skin tight spandex extra skin thing that's going on. So I think that's a wonderful cover. But then also Leo Romero, this classic, almost like Darwin Cook, Cliff Chang, Chris Samney, Kirby, Ditko classic. It's just so cool. It's so wonderful. It's a great homage to older Spidey books, and they couldn't be more different, and they couldn't both be more up my street. So I am going to be taking both of these home with me this week. Still going strong, we have Resurrection Man. We're up to issue 4 now of this series, which is brilliant. I'm still loving it. I'm such a big fan of Ram V's. And Arcade doing the interior art on this has been impeccable. Every issue feels so fresh. The paneling in this book is sublime. It's so imaginative, it's so evocative, and it's why I think him and Ram are a perfect pairing for this book, for Resurrection Man. So yes, Resurrection Man, Quantum Karma is still going strong. Now the final in a series of one-shots, I think it's the final one before we move on to a new mini-series of Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe. He has to fight the God of Thunder, that is Godzilla versus Thor. I've had a quick flick through already and the interiors look brilliant. Aaron Kuder going for what I think is going to be quite a different style to the rest of the other books. It seems a bit more dark, a little bit almost eldritch, really leaning into the Norse mythology with this one. So if that's something that's up your bag or something that's a little bit more maybe violent and mature, I think this might be the Godzilla versus for you. So yeah, sad that the one-shots are over. I've been loving them so much. Hopefully they come out with a new wave of them after Destroy the Marvel Universe, because I think there's so many other characters and teams that Godzilla could interact with in the Marvel sphere. And I know it's all to celebrate the 80th anniversary of Godzilla in collaboration with Toho. So as much of this as they can give me, I will take, because I've been loving every second of it. It's a really big Marvel week, as always for me. But we have a brand new #1, which I'm really excited to get stuck into, which I haven't been for a while, and that is Captain America. Now, Chip Zdarsky is writing Captain America, hot off the success of Avengers Twilight, where he sort of tells this old man Cap story. That was very much the pitch for that series, and was immensely well received, so much so that he's clearly been given a chance to write Cap in the mainstream, in the main Marvel universe. This is actually a prequel, as far as I've gathered. It's set just after Steve Rogers is thawed out of the ice after being frozen during World War II, and it's one of his first interactions with a modern world before he's with the Avengers, before he teams up with anyone else. This is his first solo mission, and it has implications and reverberations into the modern day and into the modern Captain America's life as well. So I'm really excited to see how that goes. I like me some espionage. I love Captain America with a bit of espionage, with some long game. I love the Ed Brubaker run, which I'll come on to again a bit later for something else that's on the shelf this week that I'm picking up. But yes, this is the start of a new era for Captain America. It's called Our Secret Wars, which it's giving me the vibe that I'm going to get that intrigue that I'm after when it comes to a Captain America book. So yeah, I'm actually really excited to see how this kicks off and where the rest of the series goes. Speaking of preludes, it's back. X-Men Days of Future Past is back with Chris Claremont. Now, this is the first time this prelude has been available to the masses. It was originally printed, I believe, in a hardcover edition that's like really out of print and really hard to get a hold of. But Chris Claremont and Salvador Larroca, his Extreme X-Men collaborator, have done this sort of mini introduction to issues 141 and 142 of Claremont and John Byrne's original X-Men run. That was the 2 issues that made up Days of Future Past. And not only that, this book includes that prequel, and then goes straight in to Days of Future Past. It is a facsimile edition as well of the issues that made up Days of Future Past. So this is an incredible thing to have on the shelf. It's definitely coming home with me this week. If you're an X-Men fan, if you're a fan of the original, if you don't have access to that hardcover, this is a must pick up for pretty much absolutely everyone. What a brilliant surprise that they have printed this as a floppy, as a single comic. And as I am a sucker for facsimiles and for going back and retelling stories, as I mentioned pretty much every week at the moment, I think I said last week, like, this is the age of nostalgia we're in on comics. It is the name of the game. And it's working and it's quality. So definitely indulge if you get the chance, because I can't imagine this is going to last very long on the shelves. Before we move on to the graphic novels, don't forget that this Saturday we have another signing here at Forbidden Planet Camden. They're coming in thick and fast this week on Saturday the 5th of July. We are hosting TC Eglinton and Simon Davis, who will be signing copies of the first 3 volumes of Thistlebone. So we're really excited to be offering another signing here at Forbidden Planet Camden and give you guys a chance to come say hi to these wonderful creators and for them to meet all of their fans and get to interact with you guys and have a chat about the work. And it's just such a wonderful thing we get to offer here, not just at Forbidden Planet Camden, but at the Forbidden Planets across the network. So that's this Saturday, the 5th of July in Camden. If you're around, come down, say hi, get something signed, and have a great chat with these 2 brilliant creators. I said I'd mention Ed Brubaker again, and that's because the first volume in the Modern Era Epic Collections of his Daredevil run is now available. It's not a run that I've read in its entirety. I've never read it from start to finish. And as I've mentioned before, I really love Ed Brubaker. The Captain America run that was around a similar time was massive for me and very influential in getting me into and sticking in comics. If you're a Daredevil fan, if you love The Man Without Fear, this is definitely something you should be picking up. And I can't wait for us all to talk about it, because it's a very famous series and I don't know a lot about it, and everyone always tells me to read it. So I'm glad to finally be in the conversation, guys. I'm there. Now, something that's a bit more unusual for the things that I am picking up and recommend on this channel, but definitely something that's in my wheelhouse and has been on my radar, is Dr. Worthless by Harold Schechter and Eric Powell. Eric Powell being the famed artist of The Goon, and this pair obviously very famous for their graphic novel, Did You Hear What Eddie Gain Done? The graphic novel telling the true story of the serial killer that inspired the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The pair are now lending their storytelling talents to the life of Dr. Frederick Wortham, who's a very famous name in the comic world, which you may or may not have already heard, but his testimonies and his belief in violence in the media and its impact on children is why we have a comics code authority. It's why we have a set of regulations and standards for what is and isn't allowed to be shown in printed and digital media in comic books. This was something that was happening during the 1950s. It was a major controversy at the time and still is to this day. Other than those little bits of information and sort of that name echoing through the halls of comic history in its controversy, I don't know too much about Frederick Wortham, Dr. Frederick Wortham, so I am actually very intrigued to learn more about his life and why the opinions he felt so strongly about sharing in his essays and his testimonies, why they were at the forefront, and explore the processes that led to the Comics Code Authority being written. So Dr. Worthless is definitely something to have a look at. And last but by no means least, we have Gu Tanabe's rendition of The Colour Out of Space. If you don't know already, Gu Tanabe is an immensely talented Japanese creator who has been doing manga versions of all of the best H.P. Lovecraft stories. Definitely one of Lovecraft's stories that's more sci-fi than it is horror, but it very much has the tendrils of the Eldritch, pun very much intended. It was made slightly more famous quite recently with a movie featuring Nicolas Cage as well, which was a bizarre movie that captures the essence of the original short story perfectly, honestly. And I'm excited because Tanabe's style very much lends itself more to the darker, moodier side of Lovecraft's writing. So I have a lot of anticipation for this book. If you're a horror fan, if you're a Lovecraft fan, if you're a manga fan, this ticks every single one of your boxes and should definitely be on your pull list this week. So yeah, lots of bits and pieces I'm picking up this week, a lot of ongoings, a couple of new number ones. If you've seen anything on the shelf this week that's interested you, definitely head down to your local Forbidden Planet. Once again, thank you very much, as always, for listening. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss next week's new Comic Book Day video, or as I said before, any of the other brilliant stuff that we're posting here on Forbidden Planet TV. So as always, thanks very much, guys, and I will see you next week.
If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.